Hey guys, it is 2022 and we are almost 6 million houses short across the country. 6 million houses short. We need affordable housing. We need places for people to live. The real estate market is absolutely flooded with buyers and no houses available. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to become a spec home builder. And we're not just going to talk to you. I've brought on my friend Dan Haberkas, who is a spec home builder. Dan is the king of builders in Colorado. Hey guys, welcome back to another very special episode where I have Dan Haberkas, the king of spec home buildings in Pueblo, Colorado. He is going to share multiple points on how he had to, pay the sacrifice, put in the time to become a spec home builder. Hey Dan, how are you today?
Brent, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I am super excited about this. I want to tell the listener, I want to show the listener, how did Dan Haberkas become a spec home builder?
Yeah, great question. That takes us back to 2018 when I first moved to Colorado. Actually, at the meetup that I hosted with you before you moved, I met a guy who had spent the last 45 years building all across the country. And actually, even in China, he had built a number of apartments at that local meetup. Yeah, he built apartments in China. And I'd already bought a couple rentals, and it was at that point I realized, hey, I need to figure out how to scale my income with some sort of active real estate business. And so I met Rich. Rich lived about an hour south of us in Pueblo, about an hour south of the Springs. And I would go down every weekend, at least one day, get up early, go down there, spend all day with him and learn. It was so clear to me right away that this guy knew everything that I wanted to know. And so it was mentorship. Mentorship is how I got into building spec houses. And today he's a friend and an investor, but it was spending time helping him in his business that eventually led to us just building houses together and eventually me building them on my own. So mentorship.
Yeah, I love it. And I remember you going down there every single weekend. I was thinking, man, Dan is really putting in the time to become a spec home builder. And I know Rich, like he showed me his operation one day, and I think I only spent like 6 hours with him on one day, yeah. Thursday. We started at his favorite diner. What's that? You probably know what it's called.
Oh, Do Drop In.
Yeah. Do Drop In. And he showed me all the houses he built, and I was like, this guy's on fire. But you went down there every single week for a year straight and became a spec home builder. That's a lot of commitment. That's a lot of sacrifice. I mean, you're a young guy. You could have been out, snowboarding and stuff on Saturdays, and you still had a full-time job.
Yeah.
It's not like you were just sitting around doing nothing. So there's some actual, things you had to do. You had to put the work in. 2018. Now, now it's 2022. How many spec homes have you built to this day?
Couple dozen, like we were talking about. Yeah, it took a little while for me to start actually doing it with them, obviously, to gain that level of trust. But yeah, a couple dozen in Pueblo County, between Colorado City and Pueblo West.
That's amazing. So if you were talking to me today or the listener today, like, how could I get started right this second? What is the first action step that I could take to become a spec home builder?
Yeah, find a subject matter expert. The longer I'm in real estate in general, whether it's the rentals or the land or anything commercial, finding the person who is where you want to be, who knows what you want to know, and learning from them is the quickest way to, number one, shorten the learning curve, but also just reduce the amount of mistakes, because you can learn from their mistakes as opposed to having to make them yourself with anything. Yep.
Learning from their mistakes. I once heard that a smart person learns from their own mistakes and they don't make that mistake twice. A wise person learns from someone else's mistakes, like Dan's mistakes or Rich's mistakes, and doesn't make that mistake at all. So be wise.
Yep.
Compressing time frames. What's the next step?
Well, identifying the market. It's so key that you choose the right market. So like the house we're closing, the new build we're closing today in Mustang Drive in Colorado City, it's such a good example. 10 years ago, absolutely nothing was going on down there, but here in Colorado, population has boomed, right? The path of progress has gone straight down the highway, I-25. And when I picked up that lot, it was just reaching the point where people were moving all the way down there, builders were building, and people were buying those homes. And it was so clear to me when I talked to the couple people building down there, and they said all of their houses were pre-sold, that light bulb went off. Yep. Yep. And so number one, finding the market where it makes sense, but then as a corollary to that, finding the market where it's all the preliminary work has been done for you. So Pueblo West, Colorado City, they're infill subdivisions where all of the work to subdivide the land, bring in the utilities, so on and so forth has already been done. So I don't have to extend water lines or anything like that. Water and sewer run in front of the property, electrics in the back, gas is in front of the property. So two things that are really important: finding the market where people are moving and wanting homes, new homes, and then also finding the market where the land is ready to be built on.
Ready to be built on. Hence the word infill. It's almost like a plug and play.
Yes.
You just start building right away. Guys, if you're getting information, if you're getting great information, you're getting value out of this, or maybe you could think of a friend or a family member that's thinking about getting into this, or you're trying to partner up with a friend or a family member, share this video to them, and let's keep going, Dan. Let's keep going. All right, so you got this land, this one we're building together on Mustang Drive. Beautiful property. It overlooks the mountains. You got that land about a year ago for how much?
$1,000.
$1,000. Like, and this land, I usually sell these lots in this area for about 10,000. And I remember we like talking together, and you were like, "It's not selling. I don't know why it's not selling." And I'm like, "Dan, I sell them all day long for 10,000." And I looked at your photos, and I don't know if it hit me immediately, but I realized it was full of snow. Like this area was totally had a lot of snow in it when you took these photos, hence why it wasn't moving. Like I have a hard time selling land that has snow on it.
Yeah.
And I'm just not putting it in front of the right people. But I remember us talking, it's like, what are the new builds selling for in this area? And we looked, and it's like outrageous prices. So we decided to build on it together. And you know, how's that going?
Great. Yeah, that should close today. We're going to build another one right around the corner, and just our intuitions about the market were correct. More and more people are moving down there. It's just gotten more expensive up north. And so pushes people right down the highway all the way down to Colorado City.
Yeah, and we're closing on it today. We're getting our certificate of occupancy on it today, basically where the regional building department gives us the, you know, the stamp of approval saying that someone can live in this house from beginning to end. You know, the time that we, you know, did that first soil test to see what the soil looked like, how long did that take to, you know, start it? And then hopefully today we get paid on it.
I believe the soils test that, so we're at that stage, and pulling this out of my brain was April or May last year. There were some holdups on this one, but still a fairly reasonable time frame.
So not quite 12 months.
No, yeah, no, not from, absolutely not, no. Yeah.
And we made a ton of mistakes on it. You know, I think people can relate more to mistakes than they can to wins. But one of the mistakes was, the first thing was we didn't realize the shell. We didn't realize we have so much shell, so that cost us a little bit more in excavation. Then we couldn't get building trusses, and then the lumber prices shot through the roof. And my bookkeeper decided that they weren't going to be able to keep up with all of our bookkeeping for my other company, and forgot to input expenses. So I had to basically sit one day for like 3 hours and make sure everything that was paid. Then the contractor blew budgets by what $71,000.
I thought it was 51, but
51. Okay.
yeah, I believe 51. Yeah.
We spent $51,000 more than what we were originally planning, and we pre-sold it about 6 months ago or so. So we kind of locked in the price we were selling it for, which some people might think, oh, that's amazing to do that. But sometimes it could bite you in the butt, because as inflation goes up, as things cost more, as there's less on the market, we probably could have got even more for the house. But we're still going to make a decent profit of how much?
33,000 on that one.
$33,000 with all those mistakes, and a lot can happen. That's why, luckily, Dan, you got the land for $1,000.
Yeah.
How much are you getting this other one for?
$4,500.
4,500, and I understand this is a little bit better property.
Yeah, it's a little bigger. It's a corner lot, better mountain view. It's on Lakeview, so Beckwith is right there. So yeah, great property.
So you got Lakeview, you got Mountain View. It's right around the corner from a golf course. How much better than, I mean, which would be better, like, you know, Pueblo West or Colorado City? Because it's the same distance from Colorado Springs and Fort Carson.
Yeah, that just depends on your buyer. But this one also is flatter than Mustang, which will just make the excavation a little easier.
Amazing. Hey, if you had any more advice for people on how to become a spec home builder, what would that be?
You know, the biggest thing, Brent, is back to what I said. find the subject matter expert, learn from them, shorten the learning curve so you don't have to go learn from somebody by working with them for a year every Saturday morning. So find that subject matter expert, pay them, or do something for them, and learn that way.
And I understand you were actually bringing on a group of people very shortly to do
Yes.
a 12-week course that where you kind of walk them through from beginning to end of how to do this. So tell us a little bit about it.
Absolutely. So really, it's just taking my business and your business, Brent, and putting them on paper. So from beginning to end, it's setting up a marketing wheel so that you have leads for new land coming in at 10 to 50 cents on the dollar, depending on your market, that you can build on some of them, flip some of them, sell some of them on notes. It's just creating that marketing wheel to bring you the undervalued real estate, specifically land, and then showing you how to exit it in a number of different ways, primarily focused on building, but it's very synergistic with some flips, some land notes, and all that together creates a very passive, simple business. And in my opinion, it's just a much better version of what most people call wholesaling because it's far less competitive, far lower barrier to entry, and just simpler with land. So that is what the course will be from A to Z.
I love how you're putting your 4 years of knowledge of actual building, actually your feet are on the ground, you've done the work, you put in the time, and you're compressing it into a 12-week time frame and showing people and walking people how to do it. For those that want to find out more, head on over to ibuildfreedom.com, ibuildfreedom.com. It's on the screen. It's also below in the description. Schedule a call with Dan if he feels like you're a good fit. I'm sure he'd be honored to coach you, and hope you got a ton of value out of this video.